growing up in Mission, Texas, I loved visiting the Rio Grande Valley livestock show and rodeo in the nearby town of Mercedes. My brother Cooper and I would walk goggle-eyed among the animals in the pens. The cattle looked the size of railway cars, the pigs the size of VW Beetles. I developed an obsession with cattle and built a menagerie of little plastic Herefords, Brahmas, and Angus cattle. Fast forward 40 years, I'm in Connecticut, Cooper's in Houston. During a visit, he takes me to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. It all felt so familiar. Here were the exhibit pens, the prize winners. I saw Brahmas and Herefords and hogs, but they looked somehow smaller, more subdued. I was actually more impressed by the giant turkey legs that we munched on for lunch. Had the evolutionary process sped up to yield farm animals the size of beagles? Of course not. What happened was I had grown up. What looked enormous when I was 8 looked smaller when I was 48. The critters were the same, but my perception of them shifted. But even my adult perceptions are fluid. Fast forward another 10 years. Cooper is living a genuine Texas dream. No, not by registering 1 million new Republican voters. Instead, he bought a 10-acre ranch, complete with a house, a pond, and pastures. He loves his ranch because, he says, I can leave the world behind when I go through the gates. El Rancho Wallach features a genuine herd of special cattle, Texas longhorns. Cooper calls them yard art. They're not for food or show. They just wander around the pastures, munching hay, pooping, and sometimes becoming pregnant. When I first visited Cooper on the ranch, he immediately took me to get acquainted with the longhorns. My perception began to shift again. Compared to the Houston Livestock Show critters, the longhorns look huge. Once I went nose to nose with them through a wire fence. Up close and personal, they impressed me as much as the cows did in 1963. Their horn spread is about as big as this fireplace. Cooper treats them like pets and would get up close enough to scratch their ears. He urged me to come over the fence and pet the longhorns. My sense of self-preservation, however, said no way, Jose, because I viewed the longhorns as 1,500 pounds of perpetually pissed-off killing machines. You would be too if you had 100 pounds of horn attached to your skull. The migraines must be fierce. Are the horns sharp, I asked Cooper, who has yet to be skewered like a shish kebab. The ends are blunt, he said, but imagine getting hit by a heavy metal pipe swung at you like a baseball bat. That's what happens when they get mad and swing their horns. I was curious about the process of birthing baby longhorns. Do you go to get a veterinarian out here to assist in the delivery, I asked? Cooper looked at me like I had lost my marbles. That's the kind of inane question you'd expect from a city slicker who lives in Katona. Van, no vet is going to get close enough to stick his arm into a pregnant longhorn. They just drop them in the pasture. Longhorns are used to that. So my adult perception of things shifted. I saw the cattle not as placid exhibits, but real-life ornery creatures eyeballing me through a fence. The intimacy made them enormous. Now, this is a time where I wish we had a multimedia setup here with video, because I'd love to show you a picture that was taken a couple of days ago after somebody left a gate open on the ranch and the longhorns made a run for it. Fortunately, they didn't get too far. They just wandered down a country road and started grazing. Cooper's son, Travis, how's that for a Texas name? Who lives on the ranch, poked and prodded them back into the pasture. And he did this, and fortunately the local sheriff's posse didn't have to come out and organize a roundup. Now Cooper now has moved since then to Florida, where he sees alligators. I'm looking forward to visiting him and checking out their relative size relative to the longhorns. I've only seen little alligators in the Louisiana bayous. But even without visiting him, I did give Cooper some brotherly advice. I said, you can pet the longhorns, but please don't pet the alligators. Picture of the longhorns and the actual runaway gang I can send those. You can supply.